Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. And now, the champion, fighting out of Los Angeles, California. This man is a movie snob with a background in fighting and a lifelong addiction to all things superhero related. Presenting the reigning, defending, undisputed host of the show, the Iron Cube.
Four African-American vets battle the forces of man and nature when they return to Vietnam, seeking the remains of their fallen squad leader and the gold fortune he helped them hide. Welcome to the show. This is episode 161 of the Iron Coop Fights Movies. This episode is available on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, and hosted by SoundCloud. I'm Kier, your host. With me on the show today are my co-hosts Emerson.
Hey, what's going on?
And Everette.
Hey, what's up?
This week the team reviews The Five Bloods, followed by movie. Why is that the title? Why is it The Five?
I think it's a cultural thing.
The Five Bloods, followed by movie, television, and video game news. I'm going to explain our rating system. On this show, we give the titles that we have watched a rating of win, draw, or loss. A win is a title that we would highly recommend, while a draw is a title we didn't love, but recognize others may appreciate. A loss means we do not recommend the title. If you have not seen the review of the week and would like to avoid spoilers, check the show notes for the timestamp so you can still hear our news sections. Alright, who wants to go first?
I will.
Alright.
So I give this a draw. There's some things I really like about it. It's basically turning the Vietnam movie trope on its head. It's showing a very specific view of American history and African American history. And it has some cool ideas, cool scenes. It's also very relevant right now. However, I feel like it suffers a little bit from what we've talked about before, the Netflix curse, where there's just some things about the cinematography or the action that's just a little off, a little below what I would consider mainstream Hollywood movies or blockbuster movies. And not just in the special effects department, although that's where it's most obvious. It's just a little off. At the same time, I also think that it's a little jarring. It jumps around not only in time, but in spatial perspectives throughout the movie. That makes it a little hard to watch. And I also think it's a little too long at 2.5 hours. But I can see why a lot of people would like it. And I do think that there's a very interesting message here and that it's a decent watch. So I'll give it a draw.
All right, Everette.
I'm going to give this a draw as well. Emerson's right. This movie's a unique plot, and they do it very well. However, there are a few things that I felt were a little bit too dramatic, and the whole Netflix curse thing is completely right. There are a few things that could have looked a little bit better, in my opinion, and I'll talk more about it when we get into spoilers. But the message is really good, and I enjoyed some parts, but others were a little bit on the nose and a little bit too dramatic.
The message. I want to hear your interpretation of the message.
Well, the whole thing about Black Lives Matter, right? That's literally the whole thing.
You're not down with Black Lives Mattering?
Okay,
no,
sure.
I am. I didn't say I was against it.
All right, yeah. So my review is, if someone were to ask me, or if someone were to tell me, hey, I'm thinking about watching that movie, my response would be, it's a little too long, but otherwise it's fine. Which is, for me, now lately, when a movie's too long, that is almost like an automatic draw, not a win. But like Emerson said, I think we're all kind of on the same page. There were some things that I liked, and some of it was so ridiculous that I almost want to knock it down for that. I did appreciate the film overall, and I thought some of it was very cool, and I don't know, it was just too long. I get annoyed. Do you guys get annoyed?
Yeah, well, so 2.5 hours. And part of this is Netflix's problem too, because when you put something on Netflix, right, the director or whatever has full control. Right. Sometimes that's not a good thing.
Well, that's a really interesting problem to have, is when is it okay and when is it not okay?
And that's what's hard, right? Because, like, I don't know. I think sometimes being forced to say, like, okay, I have to pare this down for mass consumption is good because it forces you to, like, work within confines, which sometimes can bring your brilliance out and really make it, like, concise. But then other times you get too much cut out and it becomes, like, unwatchable. So I really don't know. It really is a movie by movie and director by director basis.
It's interesting because I think that if this was in the theater, it would have flopped.
I agree.
Really?
Yeah, a 2.5 hour long movie, and this isn't the way it was advertised. Was this is a Vietnam movie where four guys go back to Vietnam. Okay, but this really wasn't a Vietnam movie. It was more like a history movie that was the history of African Americans in general and their like relationship with the United States and the rest of the world, and more of like a closure of Vietnam movie.
Which is fine.
No, it is fine, but I'm just saying, like, I can see that if this was in theaters, people would go to it expecting one thing, the average person. And then they wouldn't see that.
I definitely thought from the trailer that we saw that there was going to be some more, like, war in it. And I was interested to see that because I haven't seen Vietnam in a while, like, in movies. Yeah, let's get into spoilers now. Okay, so Everett, what do you think is this is probably the biggest problem with the film is, what do you think the message of the film is?
I mean, considering everything that happened in it and what happened at the end, I'm guessing it's just that it's probably split between Black Lives Matter and Remember Black History. Because they sprinkle all these little tidbits throughout the movie about, like, famous black people and all, like they do talk about Martin Luther King, they talk about Malcolm X. There were a couple people that I didn't really know, but I think that was the message, was to remember black history and to remember that all Black Lives Matter.
The point of the film is to literally just like tell people about it?
It's to show the importance of it and to be appreciative of it.
I mean, I don't know if they were saying appreciate it. They were just... It was more like a history lesson.
Yeah, I think the film was mainly supposed to show you... I think it was challenging the traditional American narrative that you see about Vietnam and history in general. Because we've seen a lot of movies about Vietnam. Not recently, but in hindsight. And most of those movies are about the plight of the young white man in Vietnam, if we're going to be honest. And I think this was challenging that, saying, no, there's a different narrative here, which is the plight of the young black man in Vietnam. And there's a wider picture here, because they mention, like, my grandfather fought in World War II. We fought in the Civil War. We fought in all these wars being promised freedom, and we didn't get it. They talk about how the first American to die at the Boston Massacre was an African American. They talk about, you have Hanoi Hannah announcing the death of Martin Luther King. To the black GIs, and there's this question. They talk about police brutality, shocker, and there's this big question of why are these black soldiers fighting for the United States in this war, 30% of the troops versus 11% of the population, when their history and their sort of story has kind of been glossed over in favor of the white guy.
It's weird because to me, I didn't realize it had really been glossed over because I read a book by Walter Dean Myers, like Fallen Angels. Have you guys ever read that?
I've read parts of it from one of my classes.
I read that when I was young, like in middle school. And, I thought people knew. And then I also played a video game called Men of Valor that the main character was black. It was, a Vietnam first-person shooter. It was a scary game, too. And so for me, I kind of thought that was common knowledge that there were a lot of black people there that died for America during that time period.
I think it's only common if you're like reading a book or if you're like looking at it. But I think the public discourse, because like I'm thinking of a lot of the movies that focus on Vietnam, they tend to focus about predominantly white groups and their like
which
suffering.
Movies?
I'm thinking of Apocalypse Now.
That's like an art film, though.
That's true, but there was that one with Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks?
Yeah, what
You mean
the hell?
Mel Gibson?
No, Mel Gibson. Sorry, there was that one with Mel Gibson.
We Were Soldiers.
Yeah, we were soldiers, and I think that for a lot of people in the discourse is about, man, Vietnam sucked for everybody, like the average person, like it was just horrible. But the reality is, like, yes, it was horrible for everybody.
It did suck for everyone.
It absolutely did. But there is like that statistic, you know, or they say a line in the movie that white boys in college could judge the draft, and that's true. But you know, the majority of black people didn't have the opportunity to go to college, especially in the 70s. So it's just like, this is a movie saying like, look, this is our story of African Americans in this war and kind of in the greater picture of things.
I feel like the theme of the film, like I felt like the characters kind of lost their heart. Like the film didn't have the soul that it needed.
I agree. And one thing I think was a poor choice was casting the same actors to play the younger versions of themselves.
Poor choice is an understatement.
Yeah, because like I'm watching them, I'm like, they look exactly the same. It's very clear they can't move. Like next to Bozeman, they just look.
They can't even move.
I know.
You can't even show their faces.
And I'm gonna be honest, those fighting scenes were already pretty cringy.
They were terrible.
They were real bad. Like they're like shooting. There's no recoil. It's like action B movie level. Like. And then
not
on
only
top
is there
of it,
no recoil, but like the framing of each shot is like, there's almost no like artistry in it at all.
Exactly, and it's just like,
it was the worst part, honestly.
And that compounds on it because you see them all moving very slowly, and like it was just laughable. Like, why not cast different actors as the young versions of themselves?
Yeah, that is a huge mistake.
I know.
I actually have a plot idea about that we could talk about later.
Okay. But that was really, really bad.
It really was. I wrote down in my I wrote down in my notes that I didn't feel like it had that feeling of wartime in those scenes. I liked the fact that they kind of they closed in the black bars and they made it look like more old timey footage a little bit, but there's something that you feel when you watch a war movie, like when you watch Saving Private Ryan. You feel that level of like fear almost, like you know there's the stakes that are at hand. With this, it was like you said, no recoil, no emotion on their faces. It looked like they were playing an airsoft game almost.
Yeah, and to build off what Kia said about them not like kind of losing the soul of the movie, I think part of the reason that happened is because it was simultaneously cutting to historical events and trying to tell us about like a bigger picture, and then cutting back to these old men with their gold, and like it kind of just like got lost. And then you had this like moment where Paul, I believe it is, splits off from the main group and he has his monologue looking at the camera, which was interesting, but that just added to the disjointed nature of it, where you're jumping between that, the past, other historical events, and the main group. One thing I did like about it though is, you know, it did a decent job of showing the Vietnamese side. You've got the kids who are hurt. You got the mines that are still there. They're calling it the American War. You got the guide explaining, like, yeah, you know, my family fought for the North Vietnamese. Like, so
yeah,
that was done well mostly until like, but at certain elements, the Frenchmen, the random like Vietnamese henchmen, like, what is going on?
Let me ask you something
before I forget. Frenchman.
Was he wearing that "Make America Great Again" hat?
Yes, he took it off of. No, he took it off of Paul's body.
He wore it like a fucking trophy.
Wait. Okay, wait. So Paul had the hat?
Yes. Okay. Do you remember at the very beginning they're in the bar and Paul's like, "We need to build the wall. Stop the." And like it's revealed through the movie. Yes, he was wearing the hat. That's the red hat he wears for most of the movie. In the jungle.
He was wearing it backwards.
Yeah, but it is the "Make America Great Again" hat. Paul, his character, likes Trump. That's his thing. He votes Trump, likes Trump. He's got the hat.
I didn't notice that until the French guy was wearing it.
Yeah, the French guy puts it on at the end.
Didn't they play that clip where they're like, "Oh, he's that happy black guy" at one of those Trump rallies, and it's like the giant red arrow?
Yeah, they did.
Can you imagine like being that guy, and if you saw this movie, you see yourself there, like just pointing?
That honestly, the Trump stuff, I didn't think was even necessary.
It was added to make it feel topical, and also I know Spike Lee does not like Trump at all.
Yeah.
So he was trying to like take jabs, but in a weird way, that's part of what I think you might be talking about, Kia, with the loss of soul. Because every time they like insert like, hey, here's the modern political thing, that just adds another layer that kind of strips away from everything else. When the movie begins, you think, okay, it's about these 4 guys and their journey. And then it kind of goes like 6 or 7 directions at once.
I mean, I like that you get context for like who they are and where they came from and what they've been going through the past 30 years or whatever since they went through all this. I like that, but also what about where the characters end up? Like, the film really doesn't say anything about the fact that only one went home, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
everyone just dies. Like,
and what does that mean? It means nothing as far as I know.
I don't know what it means. And also, like, a lot of the deaths were... I think they missed building enough character for a lot of these characters. And it was just like, he's dead. I'd like to point out, that sequence where, I forget his name, but he steps on the landmine, the first guy to step on the landmine.
Was one of the funniest...
Yeah, no, not only was it hilarious,
ever.
but, like, here's the thing, right? When they were looking for the gold, I was waiting for the landmine. I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I kept
Right.
expecting them to think they found the gold and hit a landmine. And I was actually like, oh, shit. This is... But then, like, when it actually did happen, it was comical.
No, because didn't it seem like... I was wondering, is it intentional that we're supposed to be wondering if this is a landmine? Because
I thought it was.
It's when they find the first one, and then they find the like next 5, and then when they find Norman's body, all those I was like on the edge of my seat, thinking it's a landmine.
Yeah, every single time.
And then when the guy that has had no character development, hasn't said a word, he just starts like crying and monologuing, and then he's like shifting backwards slowly.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is a landmine.
And then also, like, when he dies, and there's like a beat. And I understand it's supposed to be a beat where the characters don't know what happened, but all it reminded me, there's like this moment where they're all like, what the hell? They're all like looking around. It reminded me of Tropic Thunder. The beginning of Tropic Thunder where the guy steps on the mine. That's what it reminded me of.
And then I will say, when the sun steps on it, that caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think they were going to do that.
And then you had the French mine clearing team show up.
What about the whole thing with the rope, though? Like, they, like, pulled him off of it. Was that really how that works? Or
I
don't know.
So most mines at least, don't have, like, you step on it and then it blows up. Most mines just blow up when you step on it.
Oh, okay.
Like, there isn't, like, most mines don't have a release. Otherwise, like, you'd live.
But is that, like Vietnam era? Or, like, was World War II the same?
Yeah, I mean, generally, yes. Generally, there were mines that were timed release, but not pressure release. So you step on the mine and it detonates 5 seconds later.
You know what I don't understand? Like, in all these movies, you have mines working that way. Like, you step on it.
Well, yeah, because
and
it's
then
not
when
as...
you release it.
It's not as, like... It'd be less dramatic.
Well, yeah, I know it's less dramatic, but that being said, how come no one just gets, like, a big rock and Indiana Joneses it and just, like, counterweights it? Like, if you step on the mine and you have to keep your foot there to keep it from exploding, why not someone just go and get like a heavy rock and then just put it where your foot is, and then you just take your foot off so the weight is still there? Would that work?
I've seen that in some movies.
I mean, in the real world, no. In the movie
obviously
world,
not in the real world, but like,
I don't know.
Like, in these parameters, like, where mines work this way in movies.
Also, the chance of it like blowing both people up
is very high.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were also a lot of subplots in this that were just... I understood what they were going for, but they didn't really have the punch. Like Otis having a daughter there.
Like he made it back, but what is that? What are you saying? So the others didn't make it back, but like two of them like didn't really want to die. Like Paul was out of his mind, but the other two were just like
well, they had that
people.
one moment where the one guy who has the Max card, he was like, everyone thought he was rich, and then he wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, that was his only character development, and then he was dead.
Yeah. It's like, so what do we think about that guy not coming back? Do we care? Like,
well, I guess the very ending is supposed to show, because remember, he wanted to donate his share to Black Lives Matter, and he does do that at the end. Or they donate his share for him.
Right, but he could have lived and done that.
Yeah, I agree. So,
it's just like, so then what's the point of Otis making it back? Like, what am I supposed to think about that? Like, oh, he made it to his
I
half Asian daughter and
don't know.
what the fuck is that? I don't, like
And like also if you think about it, there's weird moments for Otis specifically, like he gets the gun and that like
Yeah.
kind of doesn't go anywhere. They just take the gun from him and don't trust him.
yeah,
It's basically a plot device to ensure Paul gets a gun. That's really what it is.
right.
And then Otis also has like, remember he's like taking Oxycontin for like
Right.
his hip and he throws it away, and I thought that was going to be like a bigger thing,
Right.
but it never really comes up again.
In
They
fact,
mentioned-
didn't
they
he give
mentioned
him
it.
the bottle back at the end? Like when they're like in the jungle, the ruins. He like
They
hands him the
mentioned
bottle.
Oxycontin towards the end, but I don't think it was significant. I don't know. I mean, the more we're kind of shitting on it, I did actually enjoy it.
No, I enjoyed it too, but
There was some like the guy, the fat guy in the red shirt, I forget his name, the one who jumped on the grenade.
oh yeah,
So
Okay.
first of all, have you guys seen The Wire?
parts of it, yes.
So he's
No,
in The
I haven't.
Wire, and he's like he's like a meme for making that. He's the guy that goes like shit for like a really long time, and then he did it in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. And the thing with him, right, is I'm pretty sure he's the character who says earlier, like, I wouldn't jump on a grenade. Like,
Yeah.
Isn't he the one-
He really shouldn't have jumped on that grenade because
yeah.
his friend was like Otis was like shot up, and he was still like fighting. Why would you jump on a grenade to save Otis? Otis should have jumped on it.
Yeah, and he keeps the fight going, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
honestly, that death was kind of glossed over. Like everyone else that died.
All
in
their
this
deaths
movie.
were
Yeah,
glossed
because they
over.
kill him so quickly, and they have to move to the next thing.
Yeah.
That's
He's
the
just
problem, 'cause
sitting there
the movie
dead on the
wants
ground.
to get to the next scene.
Like-
I'm surprised the Vietnamese guy didn't die.
Yeah.
He had that moment where he says, "If I don't make it through, send it to this address," and then he
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But when the first guy dies, the whole reason they're there is because of their dead friend, more or less.
Yes.
Like, they're all, like, tormented. Like, we lost one of us. And then, like, the rich guy dies, and they honestly, they just, like, pick up their backpacks. They
Yeah.
don't care. And then the fat guy dies, and they don't even say a word about it, honestly.
Yeah.
Do they? I don't remember.
No.
No, they just leave him lying there, and then the
And
scene
then-
shifts.
And then Paul's gone. Like, do they realize he's gone when they see the hat?
No, I assume there would be this moment where he's like, "Where'd you get that hat?" But it doesn't come.
They kind of assume he's dead anyway.
Yeah.
And what was
Yeah.
his plan? What was Paul's plan?
He was just gonna hoof it on his own, make it out with all his gold, but then he lost the gold because the tree took it.
Right, and
The tree took it.
and he kind of goes in the opposite direction.
Yeah, he moves in a different direction, which like I assumed would be like, oh, that way the Frenchmen and the Vietnamese guys won't be able to find the main group. He's like gonna sacrifice himself, but instead they find him, kill him, and then find the main group.
Yeah, and can I also mention how pointless that scene with the rubber snake was? Like he got bit by it,
true, I
and then
forgot about that.
nothing happened after.
Yeah.
that.
Well,
it
I
meant
thought
nothing.
that was supposed to be like how he hallucinates Norman.
But he was already hallucinating.
Yeah, but like he went to another level of hallucination.
All right, let's talk about Norman for a second.
Okay.
So, I mean, I like Chadwick Boseman. All the scenes from then, they're kind of like tainted because of the old guys.
Yeah.
And, like, the bad war fighting.
Yeah.
So, like, he kind of doesn't get a chance to shine, but I felt like when he had a chance to be their leader, he did it effectively.
Yeah.
Mainly because you can't see that he's talking to old men.
Yeah. There's so many scenes where you don't see their faces and it's
Yeah.
clear they're using other extras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a really, like, Spike Lee should know better. Or Spike, what's his name? Is it Spike Jones?
Spike Lee, I'm pretty sure.
Who's Spike Jones? That's a person too. Does anyone know?
I'll look it up.
Spike Jones.
Spike Jones was an American musician and band leader.
No. Spike Jones, known professionally, it's like Jonze, is an American filmmaker, photographer, and actor. He did like Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh, yeah, okay. His name's Adam Spiegel, but he's known as Spike Jones.
Yeah, he's white.
Ah.
He's white in this
Interesting.
picture.
I think he is a white guy.
All right, so he did Three Kings and Her. Okay, so Spike Lee. Let's see. Spike Lee did that Kobe documentary, right?
And he did Black Klansman.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. And he did Malcolm X, Do the Right Thing. I mean, yeah, he's pretty famous. Inside Man might be his best film. I haven't really seen Do the Right Thing.
Wait, he did Inside Man?
That's what it says here.
I just watched that.
2006.
I literally just watched that, like, last night, actually. Just randomly.
Director.
Yeah, he did do Inside Man. Wow. I love Inside Man.
Yeah. So what I was thinking about the story, it's kind of strange. Like, I think I wouldn't mind the historical stuff. I would have cut down on it a little bit. But I think what you do is you get these 4 aged veterans, and most of the movie takes place in this time period, right? Did you guys ever see Flags of Our Fathers?
Yes.
You know how it's mostly about those guys, and then you get, like, flashbacks?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like how
I
this
agree.
film should have been. So they're going to get Norman's body, and what you don't know is that they're also going for the gold.
Right,
Whereas
that
this
gets
movie just-
revealed.
it just tells you, like, from the beginning that
Also,
there's gold.
they're, like, talking about it every second. Like, they tell everybody. One of them gets drunk at the bar, and he's like, there's gold in the hills.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. So I would have kept that as like a twist, like, and the son's there, and the son is kind of the surrogate for the audience, where he's like, "Wait a minute, you're not just here for Norman." It's like,
Yeah, he gets confused because they're searching for something else.
it's
and, like,
yeah, no, we're here for Norman because we know Norman's body is near the gold, and so, like, I would have done that, and then cut to, and I like that twist where it's like, what's his name, accidentally killed him. Paul accidentally kills Norman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
And that explains why he's the most haunted, too.
Could have been done way better.
Yeah.
It was very poorly executed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. And just the fact that it's him. He looks exactly the same
He looks
in the
the same.
flashback to the future.
When that Vietnamese, is that a man or it was a
It's
woman?
a woman.
Right?
It's a woman.
Did they have women fighting?
Yeah, the VC had a lot of women fighting.
Oh. So when she, like, gets in there and I don't know, they, like, do their random shots and then she, like, dies on top of Norman.
Yeah.
The way he, like, picks her up and she, like, rolls like 5 ways over. It's really funny.
I know.
But that's basically what I would have done. Is the twist is the gold, and then the second twist is that Paul is responsible, which, like you said, explains why he's way more
Messed
traumatized
up,
than the rest
yeah.
of them. Yeah. And as far as, like, I think I would have killed all of them, all the old guys.
Yeah, and
'Cause-
let the son inherit it.
Yeah, I don't know. But to be honest, like, the fact that they even went to the Vietnamese jungle, like, that's no joke. Those old guys could not do that.
No, not at all. The guide even says, like, you shouldn't do this without me. Dude, when they get back to the guide and their excuse, because, like, he's like, where is blah, blah, blah? And he's like, oh, he sprained his ankle. We left him with food and water. Let's go. And the guide's like, let me call a rescue. It's like, really? That's your excuse? I would have just been like, he stepped on a mine.
Yeah.
He's dead. Like,
He stepped on a mine. Yeah, it's a pretty believable story.
Not to mention
No one's gonna think
immediately
you
after.
killed him, and you didn't kill him either.
Yeah. Immediately after that line, he goes, "How would you like to make more money than you've ever made in your entire life?"
yeah, I know. It's like,
Because he was gonna call him the rescue chopper.
yeah, but it's
Yeah.
like, of course he's calling it a rescue chopper. You're saying he's still alive, sitting on the path. Like, what was the
Yeah.
plan there?
yeah.
Was the plan there to
That
be
is
like, he's
super
back there
stupid.
and we're just gonna leave? And
Yeah.
like, we're leaving him to die? The guide was like completely logical. He's like, okay, I'll call it a rescue chopper. And they're like, ah, shit, we thought he'd be fine leaving him behind.
Yeah. Just we gave him food and water with a broken ankle, and he's gonna find a way out. It's like, no, we would. He's the guide. He could easily find him.
Yeah, I know. That's like, they should have literally been like, he hit a landmine. And then you could have still had the French guys roll up, or the Vietnamese soldiers roll up.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I really liked, one scene I really enjoyed.
Was the guide working for the Vietnamese?
No,
people?
he was not.
No,
Who sold them out then?
the French guy sold them out.
The French guy, Le Roche.
But he's the one they were running from.
Yeah, but he's the one. Okay, so remember, they
He
met
tried to
with
rip
him
them off.
at the start to, like, he was going to move the gold into money so they could have access to it. And then basically he hired all those Vietnamese guys, not the guide though, the rest of them. He hired a bunch of Vietnamese guys to like take them out. And then the guide had to live, I guess, because the guide is how they end up getting the money out of the country. Because he just randomly tells them, I can help you get the gold out of the country. He's apparently a very handy dude.
You know what's kind of strange, though? Like, there's a few points in this movie where they flip-flop a little bit, but one of them is when the not the Viet Cong, but when the Vietnamese people first show up to take the gold, I thought for a minute, based on what that one guy was saying, that they thought it was like their right to have it.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be the
theirs.
tribe. The tribe that the gold was originally going to. The Hue people, I believe.
Like, yeah, doing the right thing, like, right thing for the wrong reason sort of thing. Like, hey, this rightfully belongs to us, you should give it to us. But then it turns
it's just they're hired guns for the French dude.
Yeah, so they kind of flip on that. That was
just
weird.
to not keep shitting on everything, one scene I really liked was that scene where Hanoi Hannah announces Martin Luther King's death.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because that's a very powerful idea. And, like, you got to imagine, for African-American GIs they're sitting there. They just get announced, like, hey, one of your giant social leaders has been killed in the United States. Like, that was powerful. And then you have Chadwick Boseman, like, we're not going off kilter here.
Do me a favor. I don't really know much about Vietnam War. Who is she? Like, was she like a real person?
Hanoi Hannah was, yes, she was a real person. Well, a real collection of people. She was a woman that the North Vietnamese would have do English language broadcasts to American soldiers.
Well, like propaganda?
Yeah, but some fake, some real. Like, she would be like, why are you here fighting? Go home. Black people, you have no rights. Why are you here fighting? White people, like, there's no reason to be here. We're fighting for you. They announced the moon landing. They're like, the Americans can go to the moon, but they can't give their soldiers support in the jungle. Like, they would just take stuff and, like, broadcast it. Yeah, it was cool. And, like, the movie also has some pretty, like, honest stuff. Like, at one point they lean into it. I wish they'd leaned into it more. The guide says that the father of their country, Ho Chi Minh, said, like, liberty and justice or something. Ho Chi Minh was actually, like, he loved the United States after World War I. He actually modeled his constitution for the country after the American Constitution. It says, like, peace and liberty and justice for all. Like, he was a big fan. And the reason he loved America so much is Woodrow Wilson said there would be no more colonies after World War I. Ho Chi Minh heard this and was like, oh shit, we're going to be free from the French. And then Woodrow Wilson was like, nah, I didn't really mean that. And then he kept requesting American support, but when the Americans sided with the French, that's when Ho Chi Minh went full communist, because he just wanted Vietnam to be free. So there's, like, a really interesting subtext there where the Vietnamese, initially, the North Vietnamese, really liked the United States, because they're like, we want freedom, they're a country that got freedom, let's do it. But then the United States was like, no, we're going to favor France here. And then they sided with communism, so the Americans came over to fight them. And it is true, modern-day Vietnam hates communism. Like, if you go to, like, there's a really big tourist industry for Americans to go to Vietnam. They don't hate America. Like, they have the McDonald's, they have everything. It's just, so we fought the war for nothing. They didn't become a communist hellhole. I mean, there were some bad years immediately after, but today they're fine.
Right.
In fact, 4 years after the war, they fought a war against China.
About the pacing of the film, like, the first 30 to 40 minutes, I don't know, you got to trim the shit out of that.
I agree. It's so slow. Like, they're trying to do character development, but, like, them sitting around talking is not character development.
Yeah. And then they didn't even get into the jungle until an hour into the movie.
I know. Mm-hmm. I know.
And then 10 minutes later, they found the gold.
I know.
And then, like, 2 minutes after that, they found Norman.
Yep.
And I was like, what the fuck? Why?
Dude, and in that first hour, there is an actual, unexaggerated 35-second scene of the four of them in line dancing in a bar as they walk.
Yeah.
Like, and that doesn't sound bad, but it's that type of stuff where, like, 30 seconds of watching that, like, you can cut that. There's all these little things you can cut out to make it faster, snappier.
Right.
Remember that scene with the one-legged kid in the firecracker?
I enjoyed that scene, actually, because he comes in, he plays on their guilt, They eventually pay him, and then like he's
Paul
like
would've
fucking with
killed
them.
him. Like, based on what we learned in the rest of the movie, Paul would have killed that kid.
Yes, that it didn't make sense later, but I like that scene at that point because it's like, oh no, he's fucking with him.
All right, anything else?
No, I think we've covered most of the big moments.
I did have one thing. It was kind of, this is the last thing. It's kind of surprising how much violent imagery they included in this movie. Like, I wasn't expecting that level. Like, very
pictures.
Well, no, it's like, well, yeah, that too, but like all the dead children and stuff. Like,
Yeah, that's the Vietnam pictures.
yeah, I know, but there was that one scene at the beginning of the movie, like they straight up pop a guy in the head, and like the blood starts pouring out of his head.
Yeah.
That's a famous thing.
Yeah, that's
I
super
know, but-
famous. I'm pretty sure the guy they shot was the president of Vietnam, by the way.
I know, famous regardless,
That
but
guy, really? Are you
Yeah,
sure?
I'm
Still very
pretty sure
graphic.
it was because I think the guy who kills him is the general who launched a coup.
Or was the guy getting shot a general?
Let me look. Executed. I'm looking because I know that there's a famous picture of,
The Saigon execution.
and I don't remember if he was the president or who he was, but he was somebody in charge.
No, it's a Viet Cong prisoner by a general.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I know that. I've looked at that. It wasn't a famous guy.
Okay. Fair enough.
But the picture was still like people were pretty pissed.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen the whole thing though, where he like falls down and his head's a geyser.
yeah, that was nuts.
Vietnam, man, that was some mean bush.
Yes, it was.
I would like to see a Vietnam video game, like a new one, a next gen one, and not this like arcadey.
Yeah, like a
Battlefield or
slower.
Call.
Isn't the
bullshit.
rumor that the next
Honestly, like-
Battlefield game is going to be Vietnam?
I don't want that kind of game. I want like
Well, but
a
imagine like a
story
Ghost Recon style game, giant open world, jungles
Yeah.
of Vietnam, VC compounds.
game. Yeah. That game, Men of Valor. I wonder if it's available on PC because that game was rough. I was too young for it for sure. Fight of the week.
Yeah, so here's what I think would be a good fight of the week. So it's Kia, me, Everett, Cameron, and Ian. The five of us are returning to Vietnam to get the gold and to put our demons to rest. Kia,
We're
your
not
objective
recovering
is...
Everett's body.
No, Everett's with us here. We're not having a body. Kia, your objective is to kill all of us off while we're trying to recover the
If
gold.
this was
so you can-
realistic, I would be Norman. I would be the dead one.
Yes, but we're doing it differently because otherwise we would just stumble around the jungle, Everett would die, and it would just be a disaster. In this scenario, the five of us...
Wait. If I'm Norman, who would be the idiot that killed me?
Probably Everett. But
I mean,
here's...
in my defense, the
Everett
one
would turn
overweight
around, gun you down, not realize, and then he would tell me that the VC killed you. He'd be like, the Viet Cong killed him, man, I don't know. And then I'd look at the gun, and I'd be like, that's a 5.56 round. And Everett's like, what are you talking about?
In my
Alright.
defense, the one overweight white guy in the entire movie left unscathed.
It's true. He cried a lot, though.
The French guy. That's
the
the guy
Bond
from
villain.
that Clint Eastwood movie, Richard Jewell.
Oh,
Really?
yeah, you're right. I thought he looked familiar. But no, here's the scenario, right? Let's say that it's the five of us. It's Kia, me, Everett, Cameron, and Ian. The five of us are going back to Vietnam to get the gold and to pay our respects to, let's say Nikki, someone who was a
Okay.
big mentor, okay? Kia, your objective is to kill the rest of us in ways that look accidental so you can keep all the gold to yourself.
So it's me, you, Everett, and Ian.
And Cameron. It's five of us.
In ways that look accidental.
Yeah, you can't just like shoot us in the streets. You want to kill us in a way that you can come back and be like, yeah, I'm the only one who made it.
Okay. Well, we would hike a little bit, right? And
Yeah.
pretty soon after, Everett would have some type of problem where he would need to stop. That's for sure. So, knowing that Ian also cannot like carry a lot of weight, he's probably going to need to put his backpack down. Cameron is also very frail and weak, would also need to put his backpack down.
What do you mean he's
So-
been lifted, bro?
So we're gonna let's just say we go for a couple miles and then we're gonna agree to stop and make camp.
Okay.
So at that point, I'm gonna tell you, Emerson, gonna say, listen, these idiots can't do it. Like, you and I need to go scout up the position up ahead. And he'd be like, all right, yeah, it's just me and you. We're gonna leave the idiots behind. So we're gonna go somewhere down the road. I'm gonna send you like in a certain direction and then just shoot you.
You bitch. I'd be sitting there and it would suddenly get quiet, like the birds would stop talking, and I just turn and I see you, and it's just the echo of the gunshot.
I'm gonna sit around for like another 2-3 hours. I'm just gonna hang out, like read magazines or whatever, maybe go fishing, and then I'm gonna go back in the middle of the night, scare the shit out of Everett and them, and be like, Emerson's gone. I lost him. I don't know where he's been. I searched for hours. I have no idea where he went. And they're all going to just be panicked and like, wow, this is crazy. Like, what should we do? And I'm going to say, we have to keep moving. He knows the location. He'll probably meet us there at some point. Or he'll go back out. But if he's lost, he's not going to come back here. And so they're going to be like, what? I don't know. Like, what do we do? And I'm just like, we have to keep going. He'll meet us either at the location of the treasure or he'll meet us back at the car or wherever the fuck we were.
Okay.
And so they're like, okay, so now it's just 3 of them. And, I mean, okay, is everyone armed?
Sure, let's say everyone has either a knife or a pistol.
Well, who has a knife?
I'm going to say Ian has the knife.
Okay. So, basically, at this point, because the other 2 are armed, I would have to wait for one of the armed people, probably Everett, to like fall behind a little bit, and once he falls behind, like I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna go back and check on him. You guys keep going. Then I just go back, and no one ever hears from him again. I'm assuming that would be Everett. I'd probably drag his body off the trail, so that
now
we
you've
don't
got
pass
Ian
him.
and Cameron.
Yeah, and to be completely honest with you, I feel like Cameron would have a really slow reaction. So I'd probably just shoot Ian and then shoot Cameron.
And then you emerge with the gold, come home to Jade, and you're just like, yeah, they all fell behind.
No, you know what? That's stupid. First, I would take those 2 until we found the treasure. And then once we found the treasure, and like they helped me dig it up, then I would... Could one person carry it all?
That's like
probably
hundreds
not.
of pounds of gold.
Yeah.
Then maybe I should keep Everett. He could probably carry more weight than the other 2.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right.
And then Everett, honestly, to be fair, like, I think I would just let Everett live and not give him the gold.
Because he wouldn't come back for it.
Like, yeah, like, I'll just be like, no, you're not getting any. Everett, would you be mad? Like, what would you do? Would you point the gun at me?
I mean, weighing my life against gold, I'd probably say, take it all, go ahead.
He probably wouldn't trust that he could kill you. He probably
Yeah, no,
would,
I'd probably,
think about it. He'd think about it, but he's like, nah, I'm gonna get killed if I try to stop this.
I mean, if I were standing in front of that pile of gold and you immediately just said you're not getting any of it, tough shit, I'd probably have like that 10 seconds of fuck you, I'm gonna kick your ass, but then I'd think to myself, yeah, I have no chance. So then I'd be like,
And
yeah,
also,
you know what, you're good.
As long as I don't ever say that the other guys are dead, I feel like Everett wouldn't go to the police and say that, like, he killed 3 of my friends in Vietnam.
The jungle took them.
Well, there we go. And then
Everyone
Kia goes home with all his gold, fucking buys a mansion.
Yeah, I'd be like fucking who's that chick from Tiger King? Carol Baskin.
Yeah, Carol Baskin. The lone survivor.
All right, Roundup.
Lot of stuff.
So I read this comic, Batman White Knight,
Okay.
which is pretty interesting because, well, I'll tell you the plot. First of all, for some reason, the Joker takes some pills that like cures him of being the Joker.
Okay.
And he becomes like the opposite. He's actually like super smart now, and he's like a good person, and he even goes through like the trial process where he's like, it wasn't me, I'm a victim, blah blah blah. So basically, he's like a good guy at this point.
Okay.
And the Batman in it is like an older Batman, and there's also Nightwing and Batgirl, but he's kind of based on like the Burton Batman and like also the Schumacher Batman. He's kind of based on those people. And in fact, a lot of the Batmobiles show up. You get the animated series one, you get the 1989 one, you get the Tumbler from Batman Begins, and
Really?
you get like their own version from the book. And like there are references, there are like mild references to the story. Also, Harvey Bullock is in it, who's like he's from the cartoon. So it's like a weird mix of like all these different versions of him. But he's older, and like the book really explores the fact that Batman is kind of out of control.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he's a total mess. And so it explores that, and as you can probably predict, like the Joker turns out to not be cured, and I don't know, there's some shit with Harley Quinn that was really stupid, and I kind of skimmed over it. And like there's also a Neo Joker, which is like the new Joker. She's female, and like I don't know, it's okay. Like as far as comics go, it's probably pretty good for comics. It's an okay story, but I thought it was interesting. So, I finished Mafia 3.
How was it?
It was great, actually. So I found out that a lot of the things that I liked about the game were not there upon release and were added later.
Interesting.
Which is not a good that's not a good sign for the upcoming Mafia game. Which also they were supposed to give a gameplay trailer,
and they didn't.
They pulled it, yeah. But the story trailer looks good, but the gameplay trailer was pulled, and they're hoping it might show up tomorrow. But 2 months from release, if they don't show the trailer soon, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
But anyway, like having played the game now as a definitive edition, apparently, like when they made this definitive edition, they kind of screwed up. So some of the glitches I was seeing, they're expected to be patched soon, but I didn't mind. I actually really enjoyed the game.
Yeah, it seemed like you were playing the hell out of it.
Yeah, I wanted to finish it. It was a little repetitive, but it was fine. I enjoyed it. And then I've been going through Mad Men, and I didn't realize season 4 and 5 are actually like fantastic. Like I forgot that it got so much better in the middle. Even though it was good at the beginning, it was great actually, but it was like fantastic. And we do see MLK like get shot. They do all those historical incidents in like really cool ways, and then there's just some artistry. Like these episodes, they get, I don't know, it really hits his groove, and I was like, this is a damn good show. And then you guys have stuff for Roundup?
Yeah, I have two things. So the first one I watched was Inside Man, just completely independently. Didn't even realize it was Spike Lee. I've seen it before, but it's just a solid movie. I really enjoy it. I wouldn't mind reviewing it at some point, actually, if we have a slow week.
Yeah, I've kind of forgotten about it.
I really thoroughly enjoy it. And then the other thing I watched was Inside Man, or not, Jesus Christ, Killing Them Softly. As I say,
which one is that one again? Is that with Thanos?
It's got Brad Pitt, James Gandolfini, Ray Liotta, Scott McNairy. It's about basically these guys.
Scooter McNairy?
Yeah, Scoot McNairy.
Okay.
And so it's basically about these kids who knock over a gang of poker. Yeah, a gang, like a poker game that's controlled by the mafia. And Brad Pitt is called in to kind of deal with it, and James Gandolfini's like his partner. And it's just about how he deals with this scenario where he basically has to reassert order.
Oh, Ben Mendelsohn's in it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. So I'd recommend it.
Interesting. I don't even. I mean, I've heard of it, but I never really. It's also only an hour and a half. That's a good. That bodes well for it. Interesting. Yeah, I might check that out.
Yeah, it's good. I enjoy it. James Gandolfini, amazing as always.
Oh shit! Hold on, my air is on. Go ahead, keep talking.
So that was really awesome. Everett, do you have anything?
Nah, it's been kind of a slow week. I've been trying to get my way through Sopranos, but I've been really busy with other stuff, so I've been kind of behind on it.
Fair enough. In some other video game news, there's been some updates for Modern Warfare. 2 new weapons, new game modes. Really fun, actually. I'm really enjoying it so far. For Honor got a new rework of some of its heroes and a new season announced for August, which I also think is very solid.
Yeah, did they ever announce what the new hero was going to be?
No, we haven't seen it yet. But
I hear Destiny 2's been popping lately.
Yes, that's what I was going to get to. So the new DLC was bought for me by David Hamrick, shout out, of Snapchat movie review fame. So after he bought the DLC for me, I decided to jump back into it. It was, pretty quick to level up, very repetitive, but I was excited because I wanted to do the raids. We actually first attempted the new raids a couple days ago. We got about 20 minutes in before everyone rage quit, because it turns out we are not very good at the game, and we can't work together in anything resembling cohesive teamwork, and people just got frustrated. And now I have slowly started to stop playing as everyone else plays. And if you want to know how Destiny 2 is now at the state of it, I'm going to use Blake's quote here. I'm literally just playing to get to max level, and then I will never play again. So...
Well, why do you play it then?
I was bored, and when David bought me the DLC, I was like, okay, I'll check it out. There was nothing else. The Modern Warfare update had been delayed. The For Honor update hadn't been announced. So I was like, all right, I'll re-download it if David buys me the $40 DLC. Yeah, by the way, $40. And I'll play it. And here's the thing. As always, it is fairly easy to level up. Don't get me wrong. Okay? And there is something inherently fun about having, like, abilities in a shooter where you're able to, like, smash enemies and, like, blow them away. The problem is, what I was most excited for were 6-player raids. All of us get together and we do this big PvE thing, and it's fun. The problem is, it's not actually that fun, because it ends up just being us failing repeatedly until we, like, kinda get it. And then at the end, I'm like, that wasn't very entertaining. I'm glad that I didn't spend any money on it, so I don't regret re-downloading it to see what's up. But ultimately, the game is just... I don't know. It's just like The Division and all of these games where I'll go back to try to see, like, okay, maybe there was something here I was missing. And it just so quickly becomes apparent that all it is basically watch a number go up simulator.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like such a waste of time.
It is, but you see, the problem is, like, what I really want and what I wish I could get a game like this is, like, a good, large-scale PvE experience.
I mean, that's Ghost Recon.
No, I agree, but that's 4 players. I would like 6 to 7, like, or 2, like, there was a game I was talking about, I don't remember if I mentioned on the podcast, but it's called SWAT 4. And it's not on Xbox or console, and the servers are, like, kind of questionable, but I've been watching gameplay of it, and it's basically you have 3 squads, Red Squad, Blue Squad, and Green Squad. And each squad can have up to 4 people in it, and they all have to complete objectives during, like, hostage situations, criminal takedowns, bank robberies.
Were we supposed to buy that?
It's something I've been talking about, but as I looked into it, I realized, like, the servers are down, and you have to do this, like, weird thing to make multiplayer, because it's old. Which is disappointing, because that looks like the type of thing I think we love. Having, like, different objectives. You have a squad leader who, like, plans out, like, Kia, you'd be like, okay, Emerson, you breach this door while Everett does this, and, like, we have to save the hostages, like, da-da-da-da. Like, it seems cool. And that's what I was kind of hoping I could get from Destiny, where it's like, oh, this large-scale, like, cooperative, like, we're competing against this difficult situation. But instead, it literally is, number goes up, you get stronger. And what I hate about it, too, is it's like, I'll have an outfit that I think is cool, and then gear drops that's higher level, and it's like, bye-bye. Or I can, like, grind to get upgrade tokens to upgrade my gear. I'm very disappointed in it. And David's like, why did I even buy it for you if you're not going to play? And the only reason I'm playing is because he bought it for me. But it's just...
Hell Let Loose is like that. It's just not PvE.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm down. We need to play it, absolutely. But, yeah, it's just like... so many of these older games that I discovered that I didn't even know about, they seem so cool. And, like, it's like, why aren't they making them anymore? And the answer is because you can't monetize it.
Right.
Like, and it's just disappointing. Because you've been talking a long time about, like, oh, dude, we have to go back and play this game. Like, and even the games that we go back, like Operation Flashpoint, like, there's a lot of issues with them, but they're fun. Like, but you would never see that type of game today. Now it would have to be massive multiplayer, gear score, new DLC every month.
Because there's so many mouth breathers that will play if they have a reason to, like a fake reason to, but
like
not
putting
because it's
a number
just fun.
up. Yeah. And
because,
it's just disappointing.
I mean, look at Ghost Recon Wildlands. We played that for what is it, almost 4 years? Probably is 4 years because it came out in the spring.
And we're still enjoying it. We don't even care about leveling up.
Yeah, so 4 years of a game that we just like for fun, and what, a week or two of the next big thing, and then it's gone.
Exactly. And it's interesting because the only games I still play really are games that I play because I enjoy the gameplay, like For Honor. Even like Modern Warfare, I enjoy just playing and getting the kills, even though it's arcadey. But like I look at all these games that are meant to be like Destiny is pitched as a game you will play for 4 years. That's what it's pitched as, by the way. In fact, they already just announced 2 years of DLC for it. It's like, oh, you're gonna now have powers of the
Destiny
darkness
2?
For Destiny 2. 2 more years of DLC.
What garbage.
Yeah,
Get
they're
rid of
making
all
it a really large scale live service.
Yeah, and you know how they're doing that? They're removing some of the content to fit the new stuff in.
I can go further into that. I know how that's working.
Go for it, Everett.
So basically, what they've said is Destiny 2 has become too large to officially update anymore. So they're introducing 2 new things: sunsetting and content vaulting. Sunsetting is basically every weapon in the game, except for exotics, which are another class by themselves, are now getting a maximum power level. So when the new DLC drops, you're only going to be able to level up old weapons to a certain point, and then they're vaulted, basically making them useless. You're going to have to use the new meta weapons. So a lot of people are pissed off that their old weapons are going to basically be useless. And then location vaulting is, there's like, I want to say 9 to 10 locations in Destiny 2. I want to say about 4 to 5 of them are getting removed and put into the vault to be updated and to be used at later dates. So essentially, Emerson's right. They're removing content that people paid for and saving it for other DLCs, essentially.
And it actually gets worse. Let me give you an example. This is what I discovered in my researching. There was a rocket launcher called the Galahorn in Destiny 1. It was a really good rocket launcher. Fan favorite. It was not in Destiny 2. They added it to Destiny 2. It became really good. Then, in year 2 of Destiny 2, they said, hey, this rocket launcher can no longer be leveled up. It has a max level. It's not good anymore. It's a legacy weapon. Okay, whatever. 1 year later, they've re-added the Galahorn. Now it can be max leveled. They're literally recycling the same weapons where they're the best thing, then you can't use them anymore, then you can use them. So they don't even have to make new content. But this 2 years of the things they're planning, they're like, oh, now you're gonna wield the darkness, and now you're gonna have new. It's just, and people are eating it up. People are actually eating it up, and it's really disappointing because everything in that game is hard coded to make you play to get something, so you can get more of it.
Right.
And I probably, after David brought me the DLC, I probably played it for about 3 or 4 days. I would play it, and instantly I was beginning to feel like, what the fuck? Because I would play with Blake and Trevor, and I'd get bored, and I'm like, all right, I want to get off. And Blake's like, no, I'm going to keep playing. So Blake levels up 30 levels higher than me. All of a sudden, he can do activities that I can't. So now it's like, unless I force myself to play, I can't play with my friends.
Yeah, that fear of missing out.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, fuck that. Like I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't even want to be playing this right now, and I'm being forced to because I won't be able to continue with the content. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
By the way, Emerson, something I learned recently that that's included in the whole sunsetting and vaulting thing. All those raids we did that we used to enjoy, they're getting removed. You are not going to be able to access them.
Of course, because, and you know what? And in a year after that, they'll add them back in as quote-unquote new updated content.
The Vault of Glass from Destiny 1, which was the first raid ever made, is being reintroduced with new mechanics.
Exactly. They're literally recycling the same stuff over and over again, disguised as something new. Do you understand how minimal effort is required to just keep adding the same back stuff in a circle? They'll add Vault of Glass back from Destiny 1, and then in 2 years, they'll add Callus back. And they'll be like, oh, it's new.
I mean, yeah, I'm enjoying it for the moment just until new games come out, but you're right. It's complete bullshit.
Now that the For Honor and Modern Warfare updates have dropped, that's all I really am interested in playing. I can't care about Destiny anymore. I just can't.
Did you guys see the update for Battlefield 5?
No.
No, I didn't see it, but Battlefield 6 has been announced for 2021.
Did they say what era it is?
No, we haven't heard yet. There's a leak that the next COD is Cold War.
Yeah, I saw that.
whatever that might mean. But I haven't heard anything about Battlefield yet.
But Battlefield, so they added, basically they killed the service to that game. So
Yeah.
they just did a content dump of pretty much anything they were working on is now coming out. And of course all the idiots are like, "Whoa, this is finally the game. Like, we need more of this." It's like they just told you that they're not making anything else.
Yeah.
This is literally what they just had. So guess what they gave us?
What?
There was like a new map or some bullshit, I don't know. But they gave accurate uniforms for the British and Nazis.
Finally. Finally.
And then
Should have
instead of
been base.
adding, yeah, like first of all, that should have been in the game day one. How the fuck do you not put?
Yeah, and the
accurate
British and the
outfits?
Nazis are the oldest
They had to-
factions in the game, dude.
Yeah,
They had to wait till the
Jesus.
last damn update.
but it's not. It's worse than that. So now remember that there's that one map with the big bridge.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
That's
the
like
one in
supposed
Holland.
to be. Yeah, it's supposed to be like America versus German, but instead it's
Yeah.
British versus German because Americans weren't in the game.
Yeah.
At least not European ones. So they added that. They added Americans, and that's it. Like it's not a new map. It's nothing. They just made the factions more
Jesus
accurate.
Christ.
So there is some other stuff in there that I consider to be pretty insignificant, and people are literally eating it up. And there's a few people that I've seen comment like me who are like, "Why are you guys okay with this? This is for the final update to this game. This is actually pretty bad. This
And
is pretty
the
bad."
Russians still aren't in the game, right?
Yeah, so like we're never gonna get D-Day, we're never getting Battle of the Bulge, we're never getting an Eastern Front at all, or any
Jesus.
other stuff that was like
Jesus
World War
Christ.
II. Nothing really in Italy aside from like the weird random maps that they gave us. So yeah,
It's
like,
not World War II. It's not.
yeah. So it's a garbage game like that. I mean, the gameplay is actually okay, but it's like a
In
garbage
terms
update.
of content. Yeah.
And everyone's just eating it up like, oh, it's so great.
Well,
You guys
this
are
is the
idiots.
cycle, right? Like, and I guarantee you, in a month, the subreddit will be like, "This is trash," and then something comes out, they get hyped up again. I'm actually
Yeah.
seeing it on the Destiny 2 subreddit. When this new update came out that I, got given by David, everyone was like, "This is amazing. Why are you guys so negative?" Da, da, da. I guarantee you, in a month, they'll be like, "It's trash." And why will that be? Because I think it takes people about a month to realize that what was added is not great.
But they're so dumb because how do you not realize that from the first second you see what it is?
Because I don't think people think ahead, realistically. And I think for a lot of people, they're like, "Hey, something new, I can grind it, I can get my level up." And they don't realize until they've gotten that thing that, like, "Oh, wait, it's not that good."
People want to justify their purchases. Like, if
Exactly.
they buy the
I've
season
been
pass,
I've been getting
they're
a lot
"Oh,
of
I
like
love it."
poor responses on Reddit because
Give it a month. I guarantee you'll be in the majority.
I've been getting a lot of people that are like, why are you bringing your negativity around here?
I mean, remember
Like,
what happened with
it's
Breakpoint?
bad.
We were all preaching like how terrible it was, and people were like, "Oh, it's good. You're just, a shitty
No,
person."
yeah,
and then
it's still Breakpoint. That's mostly where I frequent. Someone's like, what do you guys think the next update's gonna be about? And I'm like, who cares? Like the last one was like basically a porn parody of Terminator. Like really, it's not even worth discussing.
I think
The
there was
game's
another
dead.
one since then, wasn't there? I didn't play
it was
it.
the Splinter Cell stuff.
There was
right?
Deep State. Yeah, that was also terrible. God.
Have they done anything since then?
No, they were supposed to bring something out in June and then it got delayed.
Oh no.
Yeah,
What a
probably
loss.
because of Corona stuff, but like it's because it's not even ready.
Yeah. And I heard they announced that, like, AI teammates are coming. Finally.
It was supposed to come in June, yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, who cares, dude?
And like one of the responses I put, they're like, I wonder like how will it be implemented? Like how closely to Wildlands will there be improvements? And I was like, there won't be improvements. It's gonna be exactly what you had in Wildlands, except they're gonna leave out certain pieces for inexplicable reasons, because that's what they've done with everything else. That's exactly. And someone's like, how do you know that? What's your source? And I was like, everything they've done has been just like Wildlands, but they're like missed.
I'm
the
looking at
most
a picture
important
here.
parts.
This guy just screenshotted the Division 2 inventory screen and is asking for it in
Oh,
fucking
God.
in Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Oh really?
Yeah, colored gear, exotics.
Why?
I mean, the game is dead. Whatever. I'll just play Wildlands until it falls apart. Not much else you can do. I eventually do want to go over to Hell Let Loose. I just don't want to. I don't like playing on the PC that much. But
Yeah, I know. I wish it would get a port to console. That would be nice.
I think the only developers making like real games anymore that are not just like straight out
Are
to
smaller
monetize.
ones on PC.
Yeah,
Because the
that's only
AAA
way.
market is just dominated.
Yeah.
Well, because they know they're going to make their money back regardless.
Well, I don't know if they're gonna like the AAA stuff is. They do that because a lot of idiots will buy it,
And then
but
hate it and buy every DLC after.
yeah, the indie people make games because they have like ideas that they actually want to do.
Yeah, and they want to see if it's good. But, like, honestly, and we'll get into this when we talk about the PS5 stuff, but there's a new model that's wildly successful, and it's minimal content, maximum microtransactions.
Yeah.
And it's been proven that they will make so much bank on that it's stupid.
They do make money, but with Breakpoint, it didn't work, right?
That's true, but that's only because the people... Okay, Wildlands as a whole was not greatly received by the community at the start. Like, the overall community did not like Wildlands, not the
Really?
Ghost Recon. I'm talking about the overall gaming community.
well,
like, Wildlands was-
but Ghost Recon has always been kind of under the radar. Like
I
that.
agree, but that's why Breakpoint failed, because the majority community didn't like it because they're like, Ghost Recon's kind of not their thing, and the hardcore Wildlands fans hated
Right.
it because it's not what they wanted.
Right.
But you can see with like the Assassin's Creeds, the Destinies, the Divisions, all these games, like, they keep getting released and they keep making bank.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so for my Oculus, I got this game called Thrill of the Fight. Have any of you tried that?
No.
It's a fun game. It's a boxing game, and it's better than Creed. And you can get a really good workout. Like, I'm super sore right now because I haven't done any boxing in a while, and I'm really sore. But I'm good at boxing, so like, I'm knocking people out left and right. But it's got that cool thing where it actually measures like the power of your punch based on the speed, I guess.
Ooh, that's cool.
So like, I was in a fight with this one guy. I think he was from Thailand. They're all like computer. I don't think it's PvP, but so he was like kind of a tough opponent. Like, he wouldn't go down, and I was also like kind of tired because I had already fought like 3 other people before that, and so it was to the point where I was actually taking my minute break in between rounds, which I like normally wouldn't do, and so I was exhausted, and we were going into round 3, and I really wasn't sure. There's only 3 rounds. I really wasn't sure if I was gonna win or not. Like, I have no idea what's going on. My only gripe with the game is that when I put my hands up, like you're supposed to, because of the VR headset, you can't put your hands up against your face.
Right.
And so you have to put them like in front of you, that's not proper technique. So I wouldn't say it's a good training tool, but it is good for like, it's still good for getting me to like test out my punches and stuff and get a good workout. So anyway, I go into the 3rd round, and I'm so tired that I'm like, but Emerson, you know that when I'm tired, like, for most people, that's not tired.
Right.
So like, I know that I'm slower, but I still know that I can really belt out like a good minute and a half of like bombs. So I go out there and I'm like, I'm dropping this guy. I don't care. So I go in and I start digging hooks to the body, like, just, doing all the breathing that Nikki taught me, like, just like boom, boom, boom. And I knock the guy down twice. And then I knock him down a 3rd time. Each time I knock him down, I'm like, fuck you. Because I'm so done with this guy. I was going to turn off the Oculus. Right as he's getting up to the 10 count, the fucking thing ran out of battery. So I have to fight him again. But at least I know that if I swing hard as fuck, I can knock him out. But it takes a lot, and actually the head movement, like, I do a lot of head movement when I box anyway. And like, I was able to kind of bob and weave my way through these guys' punches. Like, somehow it's reading it correctly. So it's fun. I highly recommend it.
That sounds really interesting, actually.
It was like $9, I think. Apparently Crash Bandicoot merchandise has been revealed. He's got a redesign, and it suggests a new game is on its way.
Interesting.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So that's something. And then PS5 overview.
Yes. So
I haven't heard anything about it other than the new Spider-Man game.
Okay, so there's the new Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is pretty big. Here's the thing with the PS5. It is the biggest console of all the PlayStations or Xboxes. It is
Can
taller.
you lay it on its side?
Yes, you can, but it has to have the base
vent.
plate even on its side. Because the
Okay.
base plate helps with cooling. It's meant to be placed upright, but it can be laid on its side. So it's much taller than the Xbox Series X, but the Xbox Series X is wider. There's
The
going to be
Xbox Series X is just like, it looks like a fucking box.
Yeah, it's just the box, and the reason for that is because the entire top is a heat sink. That's okay. So the reason the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are both meant to be placed up is heat rises on its own, and the top of both are massive vents designed to cool it, because both of these consoles are fucking powerful.
Yeah, but like how tall is it? Because I feel like the PS5 might block my TV.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's pretty tall. I can send you a graphic right now of the size comparisons.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, you found it. It's big. Okay, but so here's some other interesting news. There's going to be two versions of the console. There's going to be
it is
console.
going to block my TV. It has to be on the side. What the fuck?
There's going to be a console with a disc drive and a discless version that is supposed to be cheaper. The price has still not been revealed,
I'm
mainly
not getting
because
a disc drive. Fuck that.
Yeah, so but no Blu-rays on it.
You already can't play 4K on the PS4.
So that's the thing. This one is supposed to be able to do 4K at 120 FPS. Max output is 8K. It's going to have a solid-state drive. It's going to be much faster. The price has not yet been revealed. This is the going thing. The rumor is that it's going to be more expensive than the Xbox Series X. We don't know by how much. Well, it's been hinted at by the PlayStation director. The Sony guy has said it's going to be more pricey, and we've heard rumors that Xbox is purposefully undercutting the price.
Well, they got fucked last time because of the Kinect.
Yes, and so the price rumors have been wild. There's been everything from $700 to $500. It's believed that the $700 came from an Australian picture that was in Australian dollars, and that's why it exists. But there are also some like $5.99 things, $6.99 things floating around.
I'll say this: I'm not gonna buy it until it's black.
That's another thing that people are talking about. In terms of how it compares to the Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series X is stronger in the same way that the Xbox One X is stronger than the PS4 Pro, but it's comparable. Games that have been announced on it, aside from Spider-Man Miles Morales, there's a game where you play as a cat that was kind of announced that people are excited for. Battlefield 6 is confirmed on it. GTA 5 coming back if you want to buy it again.
What does that mean?
GTA 5?
Like, what are they doing with it?
No one knows.
I heard it was an expansion or something.
Okay, people say it's expanded and enhanced, but there hasn't been any, is there a new map? Like, what does that mean? People can't tell. As far as we know right now, it's just GTA 5.
Well, they're really fighting Skyrim for how many times you buy a game.
Now, it would load, instantly, but that's ridiculous. And that's what I was going to get into, where, GTA 5 has made so much money off of microtransactions, while basically adding nothing. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. Other than that, there hasn't been a ton of stuff that's been put out about it.
A new Horizon game. I couldn't get into the first one.
Yeah. But so, those are the big things. There still looks like PlayStation is killing it.
They made a new Oddworld?
I don't know what Oddworld is.
Oddworld is something that was on Xbox a long time ago. That's so weird.
So one thing that is being talked about is backwards compatibility. So Xbox Series X is supposedly backwards compatible all the way back to the original Xbox One. PlayStation 5 has been confirmed that it will be able to play most PS4 games on it.
Which ones can't it play? That's weird.
We don't know. They haven't confirmed, and that's one of the annoying things.
But what would be the difference?
I don't know. But one of the things I do know is, so there's the Xbox upgrade program, I believe it's called, where basically certain games you buy on the Xbox One X or the Xbox One now automatically upgrade to the Series X. So if you buy a game on your current Xbox, you can play it on the Series X. Games that hasn't been confirmed on PlayStation yet. So if you want to play another game on PlayStation, you might need to buy it again. Basically. There's not automatic jumps to it. So, there's a lot of confusion coming out about that in general. But really the big thing that has swept everything is Miles Morales, which a lot of Spider-Man fans seem really excited for. You guys played it.
I'm a little confused, though. Is it a full game, or is it just an expansion?
Well, it's an expansion. It's not
Okay.
a sequel because there is a sequel in development that we assume is going to have Venom in it, and they are so people were disappointed that it's Miles Morales, but it's just an expansion, which is good because they had that giant map of Manhattan, and it's extremely well done, and so they should use that as much as possible, because you can't really change it that much for the sequel anyway. But they should do more expansions. They should do a Daredevil one or Luke Cage, like all those street level villains or heroes.
Yeah.
You should do like little expansions for those and just reuse the same map because it's worth it.
Remember how they did it for like the Arkham series where you could play as Nightwing and Catwoman and stuff like that? They should do it like that.
But they should have like story also.
Yeah,
Like,
story also, but like
So
the
just-
ability to use other characters.
Back into the the console war. Obviously, with the Xbox Series X being more powerful, supposedly it can do more, but without exclusives, it's not really pushing that. They both can do 4K Ultra HD. They both have 120 frames. They both have up to resolution up to 8K. The big difference appears to be storage that it ships at. With the PlayStation 4 shipping at 825 gigabyte storage and the Xbox shipping at 1 terabyte storage.
wait, 1 terabyte for Xbox. What's PS5?
825 gigabytes.
Ugh.
It's just strange, and it looks like the Xbox is banking on having like you can basically like hook up, like you can get additional solid state drives or stuff if you want to like push it.
You
We
can't
saw
do that
some.
for PS4 or PS5.
It hasn't been released yet. It looks like Xbox is really leaning into like buy individual parts if you want to push it further.
But you could do it for PS5.
Yes, but it hasn't been announced if it's just like
I mean,
you
sorry,
just
for
plug in
PS4.
it.
For PS4,
Yeah.
you could do that, right?
I think so. I'm not sure. We'll have to see what happens. And then as far as exclusives go, PlayStation's killing them. The only exclusives that I've seen for Xbox One are Halo Infinite, and Senua's Saga Hellblade 2.
Yeah.
How is
Also, there is a rumor that Warner Brothers games is being sold by AT&T, and so potentially Microsoft could buy that, and that's all the Batman games.
Ooh, then
And also
that
that Harry
could be
Potter
a
game.
big one. That could be a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
I mean,
wanna-
they need to get that. Honestly,
Yeah,
if it's up for grabs and they can't
If
get
they
it, like,
if they
what's the
buy it
point?
and they get the cheaper console here, that could be a game changer.
Yeah. What else? Is that it for gaming?
As far as I can see, one thing I wanted to mention: did either of you guys watch Dave Chappelle's new special, 846?
No, not yet.
So I watched it. It's not a comedy special. It's basically him just talking about everything that's happening lately. It's a 30 minutes, very serious, but it's worth a watch. But it's not a comedy special. It's on YouTube, if you're interested.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I thought there was something else for gaming, but can't remember. All right. Well, I guess Last of Us 2 is coming out soon.
Yeah, still a ton of controversy around that I don't quite understand.
Well, there's rumors about like some spoilers, but
Okay.
I actually didn't really look into them, and I'm gonna go in blind. All right, time for Everett's game of smartass.
Alrighty. Alright, I got 3 more questions for you guys this week. What would you guys like to start with? Person, place, or thing?
Is it my turn?
I think Kia chose last week for the first one. So let's do thing.
Thing. Okay, ready? I have different color variations such as red, blue, orange, yellow, and purple. I am held with 2 hands. I have a 0-point energy field manipulator that can lift objects. I share a similar design to the gravity gun from Half-Life 2.
Portal gun?
Yep. You
Damn,
got it.
nice. I was like, I know 0 point, but I don't know what it is.
Well, because he already did lightsaber.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking first.
Okay.
Alright, so that was thing. Would you like place or person next?
Person.
Alright, person. I have been featured in many other sci-fi franchises. My concept art is featured in H.R. Geiger's book Necronomicon.
Oh, the xenomorph.
Yep. Nice.
I don't know what the hell.
It's the alien from Aliens.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I know that, but I didn't get any of those clues.
He just said H.R. Geiger, and I was like, he's done one thing that's big.
Well, he did the Dune stuff too, but that's like lesser known. Anyway, so on to place. Ready? I was not naturally formed. I was built. I typically orbit a planet. My surface was meant to be habitable. I'm integrated with advanced teleportation grids.
Halo ring?
Yep, you got it. Damn, those were fast.
All right.
Okay,
so either.
So the current score, I believe, is 7-5. Kia has 5. Emerson has 7.
All right. All right. So here's some news. Oh shit. All right, some news. At the 80th minute. Ogun is a Wolverine villain that may appear in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There's been some like set photos of the symbol that represents Ogun, and so yeah.
What does he do?
Ogun is an ancient warrior who once served as a father figure of sorts to Wolverine. He trained Logan in the way of martial arts, and while the X-Men eventually killed him, his spirit lived on within the mask you see, and the mask is the symbol. Could be a meaningless Easter egg, who knows?
Interesting.
David Ayer clears up some of the theories about the Harley Joker scene that was cut. It was rumored that Joker intended to push Harley out of the chopper to kill her. Did you guys remember that scene?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ayer tweeted he pushed her, and then tweeted again, but not to kill her. The fuck?
To save her is what he's saying.
I obviously didn't look at this article. I thought it would actually be something. What a stupid. All right. Warner Brothers will reveal new footage from upcoming movies during Inception re-release.
Oh.
There's an Inception re-release? Okay, so Tenet has been pushed back to the end of July. That means the first major movie to play in theaters will be Mulan the week before. However, wait, when does Mulan come out?
I don't know. I heard that Inception was getting the re-release. I didn't hear about Mulan.
However, Warner Brothers isn't leaving that July 17th slot completely empty, as they've randomly decided to re-release Inception to mark the film's 10th anniversary. Has it been 10 years?
Yeah, it's a test. That's what it is. It's seeing how many people go to the theaters for it.
It's been 10 years?
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
And by the way, Mulan is July 24th. It took Artemis Fowl's release date, as Artemis Fowl is now Disney+.
I heard Artemis Fowl is not good.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
I saw that movie with friends from college.
Yeah, it was released in 2010.
Holy shit.
Yikes.
10 years?
July 13th, 2010.
Wow. That's to me it just came out a couple years ago.
It does feel fairly recent.
Warner Brothers Pictures is partnering. Okay, well, yeah. So that's the news is Inception's re-released. Oh yeah, the new stuff. This special anniversary theatrical event will give audiences a never before seen look at footage from Nolan's highly anticipated film Tenet. Oh, moviegoers will also be treated to an exclusive sneak peek of select films on Warner Brothers' upcoming slate. So it looks like you might see a look of The Batman and Suicide Squad. Maybe footage from Wonder Woman and Godzilla vs. Kong. You know, the picture of this is the Robert Pattinson in the red light. You know that one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, until this moment, I assumed it was Daredevil. I didn't even think about it. Okay. Wonder Woman delay. It got delayed again. Yeah. It's coming now. It's delayed to October 2nd.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I was actually kind of excited for this because it was kind of just its own thing. I was interested to see what happened. It's been pushed so far that it kind of doesn't exist.
It's weird. There's so many movies. We never saw Black Widow. I'm actually kind of in the mood for some Marvel stuff right now. It's time.
It's been long enough, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I haven't bought an art book in a while because of the no movies. I'm looking at my collection. It's time for some new stuff. Director James Gunn would never direct an Avengers movie for Marvel. He says, what the fuck are these articles, man?
They're all trash.
He says, during a recent Q&A with fans on Instagram, Gunn was asked about directing an Avengers movie and said, "I haven't been asked, but I wouldn't do it if I was." That's the whole...
That's great.
That's
but the thing is, like,
is.
it sounded like the article was trying to make it seem like I would never do that. And I was going to say, like, you basically have, dude. Like,
Yeah.
Guardians is just low-key Avengers. That's
Yeah.
really what it is.
I totally got clickbaited. I thought they were going to explain why. Flash producer says news about the DC Comics movie is coming. So, apparently they're still
Yay.
making it.
Yikes.
For some reason, Sonic the Hedgehog remains atop the watched at home top 20. Wait, there's a watched at home list? Maybe you should look into that.
Okay.
So you can do your list again. Watched at home right now. Here it is. Number 20 is all the Harry Potter movies. Number 19 is Knives Out. Number 18 is Star Wars Episode 9. 17 is Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. Really? Isn't that an animated thing?
Yeah,
It's an
it
animated
is.
thing.
More than Star Wars? Well, that tells you.
Yeah.
Ford vs. Ferrari at 16. Ruru Paul's Drag Race All-Stars on MTV. What the fuck? These are terrible. Doolittle at 14. Spies in Disguise at 13. 1917 at 12.
Yeah.
The Gentleman at 11. Rick
What?
and Morty Season 4 at 10. Onward at 9. The Call of the Wild at 8. This is a bad... To be behind these things is not good. Fantasy Island at 7. Bloodshot, that Vin Diesel movie, I
Oh
think.
my
Oh, Jesus
god.
6.
Christ.
Jumanji, The Next Level. I actually did pay to watch that. Bad Boys for Life, which I haven't seen, at 4. Birds of Prey at number 3. Oh, that's interesting. The Invisible Man at number 2. What the fuck? At number 1, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Jesus.
That's weird, dude.
It's a weird time. Oscars. The Oscars will now guarantee 10 Best Picture nominees as part of new representation and inclusion initiative.
Okay.
So does that mean that they're going to look at comic book movies a little more, or just like minorities?
Well, here's the question, right? Are they basically saying, like, we widened it so we can put some, like, minority movies in there?
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
That doesn't sound very wise. It's like...
Yeah. So, The Matrix 4 will no longer open next year and has instead been pushed to April 1st, 2022. Holy shit.
Okay.
Hey, whatever happened to that Kingsman prequel? Did that ever come out?
No, I think that got
Didn't
pushed
come
too.
out, yeah. Godzilla vs. Kong has vacated its November 20th release date and has moved to May 21st, 2021, taking over the Memorial Day weekend. All right, that'll be fun. What else? Dune remains untouched for now. Yeah, look it up. What is it? The King's Man?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What happened to that? Tenet has been pushed back
July 31st?
from July 17th to the end of the month. Yeah, so 31st.
It says the King's Man got delayed to September 18th as of right now.
Damn. All right, and then I think that's it. Okay, so do you guys want to watch Catwoman? Jade says if we want to do a commentary, she just won't do it then. So we can do a commentary if you want.
Yeah, I mean,
for
let's
this,
do Catwoman.
yeah.
I'd like to do a commentary, but, you know, if you want to watch it with her, we can do a normal one as well.
No, I don't care.
Okay, well, yeah, let's do a commentary. I think it'd
Okay,
be
so
fun.
Catwoman commentary next week, and then we'll start the Batman, the Dark Knight Nolan trilogy stuff.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay.
All right, see you guys next time.
See ya.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Iron Coop Fights movies. If you enjoyed the show, Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, review our podcast on iTunes so that we can spread the show around. To contact the show, you can reach us at theironcube@gmail.com and on Instagram at theironcube. Join us for another edition of the Iron Cube Fights Movies.